Alright guys, so here's a look at a septic system that we finished up actually in the early fall. Finally have gotten around to uploading some of these videos. And this is basically the final product, but we'll show you what we went through to get this in. And what we started with is we uncovered the old septic tank, and we actually found this really old concrete sort of Y that acted as a way for both houses, this red house over here on the right and then the white house right next to it, to come in together into the same tank, and then they overflowed into this tank. And we've never really seen anything like that. That's pretty old, so we took a video of that, and then we traced back all the lines back to each house. Now, we didn't know exactly where all the lines came out of these houses because they're in a crawl space, so it's not like you can just go into the basement and see. So we traced all the lines back, then we uncovered the risers here off the top of that Y as well as the tank itself, and that way we knew all of our elevations. And we needed to know that in order to set the new tank. So once we put that in, that was a 1,500 gallon, and we backfilled around it with compaction. And then we put in new Schedule 40 lines. There were 3 outlets coming out of the red house, and just one here coming out of the white house. And we tied them all in to the tank, and they each had their own inlet baffle. Then we backfilled with a little bit of screen fill and supported the pipe. And there's, for the red house, outlet 1 and outlet 2. And then we tied in down here with the third one. And each outlet also had a clean out because you can't, again, get into the basement to access that. And then we put a little more screen fill with warning tape. And a few of the other lines we had to cross. We had to cross some gas lines, electric lines, so that's what some of those other lines are as well. Then we compacted some more. And then once that was in, our goal was to get these lines backfilled so we could restore driveway access for the owners. And we had actually removed a lot of the fill just because it would have been in our way, and then we brought it all back and backfilled everything here. And then we finally got the driveway restored, and then we could begin the leaching field. And we brought the Daewoo in. We're doing the GST 6230s here, and the soils were really good. You had about a foot of topsoil, and then about 18 inches of subsoil, and then a really coarse, clean gravel underneath. And here we are putting in a few inches of C33 sand, which is supposed to go underneath the GST system. And once we did that, we got the base prepped, and we were able to then start sanding the forms. And normally we would have used the Daewoo to do this. It would have been a little faster, but the bigger dump truck was actually on another job doing another septic system, so we had to do this with the Kubota. It was a little slow, but we got it done. And basically, you keep the covers on the GSTs where the stone goes, and then you put in the sand first, then you pull the covers off, and then put the stone in. And then you just leapfrog the forms down the trench. And then here we will remove the final form. And you just kind of have to wiggle it out and then make sure nothing sticks. And then eventually it slides out. And that's the inspection port sticking out, the SCR35 line there. And you just have to carefully go over that without hitting that. And then the last thing we did here was we installed the outlet line from the septic tank to the leaching field. Put our filter fabric down and a little bit more screen fill to cover the pipe. And we compacted that. We put some risers on the septic tank so they don't have to dig so far just to locate them. And then the last thing the inspector had us add was just a vent for the end of the leaching field, since this system was a little bit deeper than normal, and we put it over by this bush. And then that's the inspection port, which remained just below grade for the GSTs. We regraded, put the topsoil back down, put down our seed, and we blew some hay on it. And regraded the driveway on our way out. And that was the finished product. Thanks for watching.